But today we're going to talk autoimmune diseases. And I've been gazumped in the studio by two of my favorite people. Oyemam Danso is here. I didn't know she was coming through with. If what the entire, I mean, it's been too long, and she's been hiding. But today I've got all of them. Two junior classmates visiting senior classmate. Yeah, senior was classmate.
Our learned colleague.
Yeah. It's a senior MPhil level. Yeah, MPhil level classmate. Yeah. Anyway, Charlie, ladies, it's such a pleasure seeing you. First of all, let me start with the one I haven't seen in a while. If what Denta is, yes. I mean, the last time I heard you were writing a book about adventure.
Yes.
So what happened to you?
What happened to me? Wow, a whole lot has happened to me since the book. Even it started before the book, but yeah, a whole lot. So I got diagnosed with an autoimmune condition in 2019.
Oh, you don't say.
Yeah.
Was it diagnosed here in Ghana?
Yes, here in Ghana. But I should say that I'd been living with the condition for over a decade before I got a diagnosis.
Wait, when I'm confused. Don't go too fast. When did I? What?
So when we knew each other in school,
yeah.
I had the condition. I just didn't know what it was.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
First of all, Emma and your good self. This whole conversation about autoimmune diseases. I mean, I'm sure somebody's listening to us, and this is the first time they've ever heard of autoimmune diseases. What are they, and how come we don't talk about them?
Thank you. So we have two words joined here.
Auto and immune.
Auto and immune, automatic immunity. So that is when the immune system reverses function. So it's supposed to protect us, right?
Yeah.
But then something triggers it, and then now it rather causes the problems. It attacks healthy tissues and organs.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's so, as simple as it is.
As simple as it is.
That which is supposed to help you fight against diseases becomes
now the causer.
Wow.
Because something triggers it to confuse it. So it's confusion within. And autoimmunity, people can live it with for years because the severity is different. Sometimes it can be latent or it can be active. So I believe that back at school, you saw that I was going through health challenges because I was having obvious manifestation, whereas Denta just said that she was living with a condition, but it was wow. It hadn't been diagnosed and it was kind of latent. So it was there, but it was not manifested until a time where something really triggered it into a different level. So mine was active at the time, hers wasn't. But we all had autoimmunity.
I did have some symptoms. I took it to the hospital and I was told, there's nothing wrong with you, go home.
Yeah. That happens.
There's nothing wrong with you.
A lot. On average, about
boring,
6 years or more.
Yeah, because the more they say there's nothing wrong with you, go home, it means that then the condition is not being tackled. And when conditions are not being tackled, they get worse.
It gets
exactly.
worse.
Wow.
And for some, they may not have the privilege or opportunity of living. It may cost their lives because it can be fatal.
Without knowing what...
It can be fatal with delayed diagnosis, misdiagnosis, or even the wrong treatment, because there's no one-size-fits-all treatment for autoimmunity.
Okay, so what kinds are they? What are the different types of autoimmune diseases?
So I'll take that one. So there are over 80 different autoimmune conditions in the world. 80, yes, 80. Yeah, there are over 80, and the common thing amongst all of them is that the immune system is attacking the body. Now, the difference exists where on the part of the body that the immune system is attacking. So the condition I have is called multiple sclerosis. So with multiple sclerosis, the immune system is attacking the central nervous system. Right, so the brain, the spinal cord, the optic nerves, basically all the nerves in the body. So that's what happens.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So let me just explain more about multiple sclerosis. So in multiple sclerosis, you know, the body, we have all these nerves running through the body, and basically it's the nerves that kind of basically control the body. So the brain sends a signal, it goes through one nerve or another, and then the body acts based on the signal that's sent. Now, in multiple sclerosis, the fiber that is supposed, the coating or the lining around the nerve to protect the nerve is attacked by the immune system. All right.
So it eats away?
It eats away, destroying that coating, exposing the nerve to damage.
Ooh, okay.
All right. So the visual explanation I can give you is, you see this cable here.
Yeah.
Right.
There's a wire inside.
It's a wire inside, but we don't see it. But then there's this plastic covering around it. Right. So then the protective covering around the nerves in our body is called myelin, and it's sort of like this covering. So then the immune system attacks the covering, exposing the wires or the nerves, right? When the wires here are exposed,
it shocks you.
And it gets destroyed.
Exactly.
It easily gets damaged. So that's what happens with multiple sclerosis. It gets damaged, and then so then, you know, messages that are being sent to the body, you know, they don't move as fast as they should, or they don't even move at all. So then you have people having movement challenges, sight challenges. Basically, it affects the way you think and do everything, the way you move,
Wow.
the way you see, the way you think, the way you feel even. Because the nerves control all of that.
Of the 80 MS,
Yes.
which you just described,
Yes.
is one I can easily recall.
Okay.
Lupus also.
Yeah.
I think lupus is because of my sister.
Aha.
Seriously, come to think of it, I think it's, yeah, I mean, I don't know when I first heard of lupus, but I think it's because of my sister. But anyway, so these two, what are the other common ones?
Rheumatoid arthritis. Okay, and then
the
there's
one that their bones,
the
kinda,
joints,
the joints, sorry.
the joints,
Yeah.
the joints kind of wear. There's wear and tear. There's
okay.
pain in the
Yeah.
joints, inflammation in the joints. There's systemic sclerosis. There's psoriasis, Sjogren's disease,
Hashimoto's, type 1 diabetes.
There's a diabetes that is actually caused by the
There's an
autoimmune.
autoimmune diabetes.
Yeah.
Not,
That's a scary conversation.
Yes.
Yeah,
I mean,
So-
so this one is not like
and-
you did anything wrong.
and
The
then
body just
They're just there.
And then the
happens.
other thing is, when in the diagnosis, you know, there are certain things that come into play. And one of the things that we consider, the doctors consider, is family history. Because environment and genetics play a role.
okay.
And they have, science has proven that there are common diseases that run in first primary relations of people with autoimmune and lupus. For example, hypertension.
Okay.
Things like
Diabetes, even
diabetes,
breast cancer.
cancer,
Yeah.
and also lupus can also make people get that as well, but that also can relate. So we are in a breast cancer awareness month. There's so much that is interlinked, you know.
So Denta spoke about MS. She's described it. What is your condition and how does that play out?
Okay, so lupus, LUP was the imitator, the great imitator that wears the faces of other illnesses. It's not cheap. It is expensive to deal with. And that is the classic example of autoimmunity, where something, and it differs for everybody, triggers the immune system to now fight. But in lupus, we have different types of lupus. So we have the drug-induced lupus, which is the immune system becoming confused
Because
when
of
you
some
take
medication.
certain kinds of medications, and that it can be stopped when you stop taking those medications. That's the only type of lupus that there's a cure. For the cutaneous lupus, which has to deal more with the skin, there is no cure. And then for the systemic lupus, which is the most common one and the deadly one as well, the whole human system gets affected from your head to your toes. It can affect anyone. And every 9 out of 10 lupus patients are women. And black women, women of color, suffer more organ damage when they have lupus. And then also we have the neonatal lupus, which affects, like the name says, babies, newborn babies. Sometimes they can have heart defects, or sometimes they can have it affect their skin. Some of those ones go away. But there are also people that will end up like, I have a friend whose daughter had to have a heart pacer when she was born because it affected her heart. And she's even had to have the pacer replaced after some years in her childhood.
Wow.
I know. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, that is So much information.
And just like with
like
lupus, so MS as well, it affects women for some reason. Women are always more affected than the men. I don't know why. I don't know what we did wrong.
No, you didn't do it.
Who did we offend?
Yeah.
But yeah,
wow,
that's it. And there's no cure. There's no cure. We are just managed with medication. Very expensive medication.
Both of the,
all autoimmune
of the
conditions,
autoimmune.
all of them. Yeah, just managed. Yeah, no cure.
So the reason why, the thing that runs in common is passion here, because it is difficult to live with an autoimmune condition. You talk about being misunderstood. You talk about the social stigma. You talk about our approach to medicine. You know, the biopsychosocial approach, the biomedical approach, where it goes beyond our nation. You talk about the scarcity in human resource and all of that. So you can keep going, and then even people close to you will just think it's your mind. It's your mind. But you know you're not crazy.
Oh, you're not praying enough.
Exactly. Like someone saying, so are you on all these medications all these years? Like, as if you don't have faith. But not to even bother about that. Our current state, you know, right from the top to the down, you look at our parliament, even today, you look at what is going on, the level of stress that different persons are going through, from the leadership to the grassroots. We know that stress is a very important trigger in autoimmunity. Infections, toxins, your neighborhood, where you live. Okay, we talk about tuberculosis awareness. We are talking about UTIs. We are talking about E. coli. All these simple, they are all connected to triggering autoimmune. For somebody's only to be an exposure to extreme heat or UV lights from the sun, from the artificial lights, it can trigger. Somebody's own can be from grieving from loss or something. So the triggers are so common, and that's why we are passionate about raising the awareness and also advocating for policies and improved healthcare in our country.
So this passion then led you to start the Oyemam Foundation.
Yes.
Tell me about that foundation.
So, thank you. Oyemam, as the name says, is an Akan word, Fanti, that says, it is well with me. And it can be interpreted in a way as Enyonam, or please help me with the Gawan. Yehami, right?
I'm trying to think about it.
I can see you are thinking really hard.
Yeah.
It is well with me.
Okay.
Autoimmune Foundation. Initially, I was suffering from lupus, so I wanted to do Oyemam Lupus Foundation. But then I realized that the lupus caused me to suffer from multiple autoimmune conditions.
Oh, wow.
So I realized, no, if I do just lupus, I'm not going to do justice to the condition, because this is a condition that makes you get other autoimmune conditions. So we did the Oyemam. And the fundamental thing is to inspire hope to live on, because it feels like a death sentence when you are told about a condition that you don't know what caused it. You don't know what will cure. It's not like malaria. You go, you get diagnosed, you get treated, and you go. And for these conditions, one treatment can work for another patient, but it won't work for you. And in a same lupus. Because somebody needs chemotherapy to deal with their problem. Somebody needs steroids or some other kind of immunosuppressants. Somebody needs antidepressants to deal with it, because your mental state even affects how the medications will work.
Wow.
And so we started Oyemam to advocate, to raise awareness and educate, to provide support systems for patients, and not just patients, they are caregivers, they are loved ones. Because guess what? It affects relationship. It affects workforces. So we do workplaces, we do organizations. Now, people may consider early retirement because the stress of the burden on our economic activities hasn't yet been researched properly to know. But at least we know from other readings that in America, for instance, it costs them about 31 point something billion in expenditure for lupus healthcare. And the people living in America who have been recorded to have lupus is 1.5 million, and it's costing them about over 31 billion for healthcare. So look at that. How much is the budget of Ghana? Look at people living with lupus. I can tell you that when I was working, there were times that I knew that I cheated my employer in terms of productivity, because I'll go and I just keep blacking out, or I'm down, I'm having mental fog. Sometimes I go to the conference room and I just call myself in some corner and sleep. You know, or there are times that I go to work and I'm fine in the morning. By midday, I'm in my CEO's office with managers praying over me and my CEO anointing me and rushing me to hospital after. And my CEO have to come and sit by me in the hospital and cry till I comfort my CEO to stop crying. So it affects your productivity.
That was Antiesta.
Yes, Antiesta.
Stratcom Africa. I'll mention it. That one I know. That feel like I get them.
And when it comes,
Africa.
and even when it comes to, you know, realizing your potential, I would not have been able to finish School of Communication Studies if it was not for Professor Gajipo. Because I remember when Denta, you recall
the Burkina
on the
Faso
day
trip.
you shared.
Oh,
You shared because you were a witness. You were right there.
Okay, so I remember was it 2009? We took a trip to Burkina Faso for the FESPACO. Yes. Mina was not on the trip. Like she wasn't. We went by bus. Mina was not on the bus. And we're all wondering what's happening with Mina, what's going on with Mina. But eventually when we got to Ouagadougou, Mina came. She joined the lectures, Prof. Gajepo and Auntie Sarah. She joined them. She flew. Yeah, and we're all wondering like, how is it that this girl flew when we all sat in the bus? What's going on?
Little did you know.
Little did we know.
That dawn right there at SES. We were about to board the bus. Mm-hmm. And I hadn't been feeling well. It just came out of blue, and that's the scary part. The flares can just come. You don't know what can trigger a flare overnight. So I have an arrangement with you. I have some deadlines I have to meet, and then you're expecting me to be productive or, you know, give results at this time. And if the unfortunate thing happens and I get a flare, the burden of me having to come and face you to say, I'm sorry I couldn't meet, or the number of times I had to call my HR and say, I'm sorry I can't come to work. That is enough burden on your mind. Yeah. And then you feel like they're going to say that I don't live up to expectation, but this one happened right there at SES. They just told me, Emma, you can't go on the bus. And then I went to the corner, late Auntie Pat was there. I went in the corner, I called my mother. As soon as I called my mother, I burst into tears. They said they won't let me go. I said, calm down. And God bless the good heart of Professor, our dean. She went. So I went back sad. And then later they called me to the school and said, director is calling. I went and she's like, I've gone to look for money to buy you a plane ticket to join your colleagues.
Wow.
Imagine if this morning we had both had a flare. She had a lupus flare, I had an MS flare.
Means this interview
wouldn't be happening. Exactly. It wouldn't have
Every
happened.
day is a blessing. And so when you encounter autoimmunity, faith is a very important thing.
How you people then walking around smiling, looking all beautiful, like I still remember?
Okay, so right now, as I'm sitting here right now, I'm in so much pain, you have no idea. I mean, if you could see what's happening, going on inside me, you'd go like, how are you even sitting here? But yeah, I'm in so much pain. And, you know, temperature actually has an effect on me. So right now with the air conditioning on, my feet are suffering, but I can't tell you to turn your air conditioning off because you need it.
Oh, where do we turn them off?
Oh, no, you need it on. But I like what you mentioned earlier when we walked in that you hadn't seen me in a long time.
Yeah.
That's what MS does to you. You disappear. You literally disappear. So for a long time...
What are you saying?
For a long time, I just kept to myself. I didn't even want to be seen in public. There was a time I couldn't walk on my own. I was using a cane, a walking stick. And I didn't want anybody to see me like that. I didn't want anybody to see me like that. So I just, stay, somewhere hiding.
Now a lot of stuff makes sense.
Yeah. That's why I've been absent for a very long. I'm not on social media.
There are times you just want to hibernate because, like I told you, the emotional, the psychological impact of you always having to tell people the truth about what you're going through. How are you? So you just say, I'm fine, and then it's okay. I'm okay. I'm fine. I'm okay. Because you don't really want to go into the details of everything until such a point that this thing is something Oyemam was something I had been wanting to do. Like, not that I wanted to do it. It was a burden on my heart. since 2011, I wrote the proposals and everything down, even before I got into a relationship or other thing. Because first of all, I was like, who wants to even marry somebody who's one day
I was going to ask that question.
And
how did
I didn't want to talk about it. However, I just came to the point of thinking that I won't see sunlight again so many times that one day I asked myself, so if tomorrow morning they send you to the mortuary, what would have been your use in this life?
Oh, so that was what triggered you to
God is a good investor. God doesn't invest to lose.
Yeah. Of course.
And he says that he turns everything together for our good. So there's a message in this. And that message must come out. I must not go into my grave with a loaded message. And that there's hope in Christ Jesus, who saved me and who has given me the grace to live and to tell people that Oyemam, it is well with you. And awareness will help to get early diagnosis. Awareness will help to get the right treatment. Awareness will help people to engage in the good lifestyle changes that will help to manage their condition if they have already been diagnosed, or if they've not yet been diagnosed or they haven't yet triggered it, to reduce the probability of triggering it, because the factors that trigger autoimmunity are all around us. They are abundant.
Interesting. It's 9:30, meaning that we have just about 25 minutes to go in this conversation. However, it's getting interesting. If we're Denta and Wilhelmina Emma Halm, now Danso has added. I was going to ask that question because so you two are living examples of two young, beautiful ladies living with autoimmune diseases. How has this affected building relationships? I mean, like you say, would that thought itself scare you from because men who approach you, you don't look like you have anything wrong with you. So when men approach, what do you say? What do you do? Does it affect the way, or you start by saying, hey, please, before you go ahead, I have this disease. How do you manage that?
Well, since Mina is married and I'm single, let me answer that question. Okay, so yes, it's very scary when you meet somebody for the first time. Are you now going to start telling them, okay, I have this condition. On some days I'm fine, I'm good. But on some days, no, like, I can't. How do you say that? How would they receive it?
How has it been like
exactly.
for you?
So for me, hiding. I've just been hiding. So I'm single and I'm not even looking. I don't even want to. I don't even want to look.
Why, you think you'll be a burden on the person?
Exactly. Because I feel like my burden to my family I live with, I feel like I'm a burden to them, because there are times when I just totally break down and they have to do everything for me.
Yeah, but nobody's complaining.
I know, but I don't know. I feel it. They're not complaining, but I feel it in me. And this is even my family, my blood, right? So imagine a guy coming into your life and this meets them. I'll give an example. I spoke to a lady recently. She has lupus.
Okay.
And she was married for just a year. The marriage broke down. The marriage broke down because of lupus.
The husband, could he understand?
He couldn't. Even though he knew about her condition before they got married,
when
he had never experienced it until they got married, and he said that, hey,
I'm going to stay with this woman for the rest of my life.
This is my wife. She cannot even bend down to sweep. She cannot mop. Thank you. I didn't sign up for this. So the marriage ended and they had a kid. But the marriage ended. Yeah. That is the reality for a whole lot of us. That is the reality for a whole lot of us.
And nobody talks about this. I mean,
sadly, nobody's talking about it.
And that is why it's very important to realize that autoimmune diseases, for example, lupus, multiple sclerosis, they are not in isolation of mental health. They're not in isolation of, say, breast cancer or infectious diseases. Because when we started and I went to the World Health Organization to try and do advocacy, and I'm like, what are the opportunities? They were like, this is not an area that we have funding for. But you are talking about infectious diseases, and infectious diseases trigger lupus. Infectious diseases trigger other kind of autoimmune conditions. Now, a lot of patients are suicidal, lupus patients. That's why a good number of them are taking antidepressants, Because first of all, even at school, I remember I would sleep, but when I go to lectures, and I don't sit at the back, I sit in the front, and my friends would be saying, "Your head is changing gears," because I'm so sleepy. Extreme fatigue, extreme chronic
when
fatigue.
you were on campus, didn't your colleagues know? They just knew there was something.
We knew there was something wrong with her. We all knew that Mina, there's something wrong with Mina, but as there's something we didn't know.
Exactly.
We didn't know what the something
and
was.
you didn't even have any symptoms, so you didn't
Exactly.
know
Me, I was just there. I was like,
She was having a cruise time, you know.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then the even with work, the relationship is not even just the say emotional, romantic relation. At work, people are afraid of being victimized. They cannot tell their HRs the truth. People need to go. There was a time that I used to go for physiotherapy 3 times a week. There was a time that my back was breaking. It doesn't matter what kind of chair you give me with pillows and everything. It's easy for people to stigmatize you, or you
think you're special.
You think you're special. No matter
chair.
everything they do,
Pillows.
you want some. And one of the things I was so afraid of was mosquito bites or insect bites.
Why? What does that do?
Because malaria is like one of the most dangerous things I'm afraid of.
Yeah.
You know why? Because in treating lupus, anti-malarials are used. And it's very easy for people to be misdiagnosed for years in a malaria endemic area, because
They think it's
sometimes
malaria.
people will get malaria treatment even when their blood work shows that they don't have the parasite. But the reasoning will be that, well, malaria can hide, and so because you're not seeing, it's not showing, you still take it to deal with. But probably the symptoms they are having is lupus symptoms or another autoimmune symptom manifesting. That's why we say lupus is wearing the face of other illnesses. So you often say that malaria is so high, this is the prevalence, and malaria is killing this number of people.
Probably it's not
Can
malaria.
I risk to say that all that you are blaming malaria for is not really, like we blame the devil for everything.
Yes,
it's not really malaria.
We're blaming the
At
mosquitoes
a
for something they
point,
didn't
then
do.
the disease manifestation changes from malaria to now go to kidney, or to some cardiovascular something, or to some blood clot, or to some forgetfulness, mental health issue. Then you begin to. So people who actually kind of get early diagnosis sometimes are those whose disease activity is very aggressive in the beginning. But for those that are kind of moderate, mild, it can be years before they get the diagnosis. So misdiagnosis is very high, awareness is very low, and even getting the treatment, the blood works, the relevant serious ones are not done here. Our health, national health doesn't cover for serious medication. What are some of the injections that cost thousands of Ghana cedis? Medications that are moving into the thousands. If you're having an active disease activity, you know, it's really difficult. And in terms of health resources, capacity, the specialists that are needed, we are under-resourced. It goes across Africa. But at least for Nigeria has done well raising more. And I have one professor that I met in Kenya at the Africa Rheumatology Conference, who actually, so he's called Prof. Adewolo. He says, he was sharing his experiences from the residency experience in Nigeria. And he says that every country needs to develop its own training program and underground professionals. Because guess what? In advanced countries like America, where we have a lot of research, there's one professor, Dr. Joan Merrill, who has written over 320 papers, and most of them are centered on lupus. She's a chief clinical advisor to the Lupus Foundation of America. She says in May, when we met this year, that the lack of diversity into lupus clinical trials is hurting research. And we are always advocating as Oyemam that this is the place where a lot of the black women are. This is the place where we have a lot of look at the what Galamsey is doing to our environment. Look at the chemicals that are being used to ripen crops for the field. Our post-harvest practices. I heard on another media house a lady talking about the Standard Board testing yam for export, and they found chemicals, cyanide and other things. So everybody is at risk. The water we are drinking, I had somebody in the sachet water business telling me that when you produce water, about 50% comes out as wastewater. Now, in order to maximize profit, people recycle the wastewater which they should let run. Some people are producing sachet water bags in their private home without proper standardization. And sometimes you buy sachet water, you taste it, and you're like, what is this? So many things. The economic impact, people can't even get money to buy medications. And that alone is another source of stress. Relationships are breaking up. Mothers are not being able to spend enough time with their children. Husbands are not getting desired fulfilled because guess what? The person is chronically fatigued. The person is stressed out. The person is going through sometimes even noise. Noise is irritating. So sometimes the same perfume that you've been smelling all the time, another time, is what puts you off. So the mood swings that comes with this, that is why marriages are breaking. That's why relationships are not working. And we need a lot of understanding and empathy to be able to go through it. We need to unlearn a whole lot of things and not just say that, oh, this is how it's been done all the years. We have changed. We've accepted technology. We've accepted social media. So we need to accept that the human dynamic system also needs to be understood.
Interesting.
Let me give you a picture of the financial cost, the financial burden of, let me tackle MS. So to diagnose MS, you need not less than 10,000 Ghana cedis. Why? Because you need an MRI of your spine, an MRI of your brain, and then so much blood work. So you need even a lumbar puncture. That's when they take fluid from your spine to test. And these tests are not done in Ghana. So they will take the sample here in Ghana, but then they'll fly it out to South Africa or to India or Germany or somewhere to have it tested. Now, flying it out to somewhere for it to be tested means you are paying in foreign currency, the CD equivalent in foreign currency, right? That's a whole lot. So by the time you get that diagnosis, you have spent like 10,000 plus. Then to treatments. Right now, the effective treatments are very expensive. So for now, most of us are being treated with steroids. That's the basic, treatment. And outside, nobody uses steroids to treat autoimmune conditions anymore. But then we here in Ghana are using the steroids because it's more it's cheaper. Right now, with the expensive treatments, we do have them in Ghana. It's available in Ghana, but I'll give you the cost. So one of these treatments is called Ocrevus, and it costs about 20,000 every 6 months. It's an infusion you take every 6 months. So every 6 months, you're coughing up 20,000 cedis. So in a year, you're spending about 40,000 cedis just on the medication. And the MRI, you're supposed to do it every year, not just once. And ask me how many times I've done it. I've done it just the one time to get diagnosed. That was 5 years ago. I have never done it again. Where am I going to get that kind of money to be doing it every year? It's expensive. And the disease with time gets worse. It progresses. Okay, there's disease progression. So I'll give you this example of, I don't know if you knew about her, Nanaya Ajiman. She was the wife of, the late wife of Haruna Atta.
Okay.
Yeah, and she founded Share Care. She invited me there. Yes.
She had MS. She was living with MS. When the condition started, I think she used to talk openly about her condition. I saw pictures of her. She was using a walking stick. By the time she died, she was in a wheelchair. She couldn't walk anymore, and she was blind in one eye.
Wow.
Right now, as I'm sitting here, I don't know how progression will look like for me in 10 years.
So that stress alone.
Exactly. So thinking about that, Thinking about that it's not fun.
I can imagine. I mean, this is the first interview I don't have questions. I mean, seriously, I don't know what to say because, and it's because this is not a guest walking in and I've been prepped and all that. These are two people I know, and I mean, so it's like, what do I say? Because I'm just shocked that you people are that strong. Yeah, you're sitting here laughing and all that, and I'm being as myself, and now it's no more fun.
We have to inspire hope.
What has been the social support like for the two of you?
Okay, then how you go.
Okay, so social support. So I'll take it from the workplace. So I work.
Oh, you still
Yes,
working?
I'm still working.
You still writing books?
Still working. I'm
Okay.
taking a little bit of a break.
Not so just before Dental continue. Dental says she works. For me, I had to terminate. So you see how it affects different people. I had to resign.
She's able
And
to
she's
work, but
still-
you couldn't continue.
So you see how it impacts everybody. Just because somebody has an autoimmune condition and they're still going to work, does not justify why you should criminalize or undermine another person with autoimmune condition who cannot
Who
work.
say, your friend is going
Your
to work.
friend is working. Why can't you work? All mothers do this. Why can't you do this? All stay-home moms can do this. You need to find something to do. Oh, the whole day you are in the house. You can't do anything. You know how the whole day was hard for me to be just in the house, not doing nothing the whole day.
It means someone.
Did I wish to be in the house the whole day?
Must understand.
And that's the
So
thing,
then
people
talk
don't
about it.
understand. So so a lot of the time.
So where you're working, they understand.
Hey, okay, I'm not saying where I'm working, so yeah.
Yeah,
For those who know, they know. For those who know, they know. But yeah, so a lot of the time when I'm trying to explain what's happening with me, I just say I have an autoimmune condition because I know if I say multiple sclerosis, they're not going to know what I'm talking about. So I start from, I have an autoimmune condition. When I'm asked for further explanation, I'll say, okay, I have multiple sclerosis. Now, because people don't know about these conditions, they don't know what it does to you. They don't know the kind of support you need. No, I am not well to go to work every day, but I can't call in and say I'm not coming to work.
And where you live?
I have to force myself and go. Sometimes I'm in so much pain, but I show up. I do my work. So things like maybe when they are having maybe a get together or maybe end of year staff party, I won't go. Why? Because I'll go for that end of year staff party. I'll go through so much pain, endure so much.
Down.
Thank you. Then I'll go back home and I'm breaking down at home. Hey, that end of year party, I can avoid it, so I wouldn't go. But then for my job, when I have to work, I will show up. Even when I'm not well, I will still show up and have a nice smile on my face. And I'm like, okay, yeah, but I'm in pain. And you can't complain too much that, this girl's every day is this, and tomorrow is this, and tomorrow is that.
That's known.
I mean, people even think I work that, no, I'm some way because I don't like, when they are going somewhere, I don't like to go. It's not that I don't like to go. I want to go. I want to go with everybody.
Then tell the adventurer.
I know, right?
And guess what? Even handshakes, okay? With autoimmune rheumatic conditions like lupus, there are times that you wake up, your joints, sometimes you can't even scratch your own body or even open a bottle of water. So you meet somebody and maybe the person, you would have expected that, they give you a handshake. At a point, I had to refrain from handshaking to just be giving hugs because the way some people squeeze my fingers.
You can give hugs. Okay,
but I had to also now try to refrain from that because of infections. So it gets to a point where if people don't understand, you say you are too known or you're not friendly or you are picky or whatever. But you should understand that. Yeah. All the fingers are not the same. Sometimes a smile should be enough because you don't know what the person is going through. If you see me wearing my stockings or whatever I'm going, you don't know what I'm trying to cover. Maybe it's for life. Maybe it has some utility.
No, but see, Mina is able to give hugs, right? But I can't give hugs.
Yeah, she can't.
Because of my balance. So MS comes with balance issues. I can't give hugs because I'm scared that if I give the hug and maybe you start rocking me or something, I will fall. So I stay away. If you're coming at me with the hug, I'm probably going to be moving back and you're probably going, what's wrong with this lady? Like, why?
You get it. So it impacts everyday life. And the support system is very, very important. Listen, people can go into remission for years, but it's multifactorial.
But you've been married for years.
Yes.
How many years now?
It's God that I'm telling you after. It's God that has been gracious to me because the times that I gave up on my own self, like I'll be there and I'll say, I'm tired. I'm tired.
I can imagine.
I'm just tired. There are times I ask my loved one, am I a burden on you? That I don't say that. But sometimes I can see that is weighing on it, especially when you don't have to fund the treatment you are getting and is coming from them. you know. And then on top of that too, you need to be supported to the point that sometimes they have to bath you.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So it gets difficult.
The conditions
and so when
are
you
humiliating.
feel well,
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
it's
when you feel well, you want to put in all your effort,
repay.
and then you do so much, and then you
And
break down
again.
and you go through that whole cycle, and then they get upset to you. Did I ask you to do it? But you know in your heart that if I am able to do it, they will appreciate it too. So it's a mental, it's a lonely journey to walk when you have lupus.
I touched on the workplace. Let me briefly do school, because I'm also a student, right? Okay, so school. Going back to school was scary for me because of my memory and thinking issues. It was very scary, and I mean, you all knew me as SES. I was quite
shakus.
Yeah. Now I go to school.
Your head come down.
Serious, oh. My head died. Serious.
She don't be, my head died.
Serious. So during exams, okay. So right now it takes me a long time to process information, to think and understand. So I go to the exam room, I get the questions, and I'm looking at it. I spend about 30 minutes going through all the questions, trying to understand what I'm being asked to do. That's 30 minutes. So 3-hour paper, 3 questions to answer. 30 minutes gone just thinking. Now I start writing. I can't write fast because of MS. I write slowly, very slowly. So then during year 1 where we had exams, I don't think I finished a single paper. But I didn't think I could go and tell anybody that, oh, I have this condition. Can I be given extra time? I didn't feel I could. Well, I don't know. Maybe I could have. But I felt that they wouldn't understand. Yeah. So I just didn't.
You want preferential treatment.
Exactly. So I remember one of my exams, my fingers, my right hand was swollen. But like, who do I go and tell? Oh, my right hand, I write slowly. Then now it is swollen. That is like double slow.
Wow.
Who am I going to explain? So I just had to pause. And for the first time in my life, I wasn't seeing A's on my transcripts. I wasn't seeing A's. I was fortunate to pass, but yeah. And I had spoken to one lady living with MS, and she tried going back to school. She had to drop out. She couldn't.
So your life's ambitions are being thwarted by this sickness and disease.
And I had this friend, a late friend, who was actually the valedictorian for her graduating class. And she was also lecturing in one of the universities. And I interviewed her extensively. She actually reached out to me first. And then we talked, and I went to interview her and everything. And eventually she passed. Look at the cost of lupus and autoimmunity to our human resource. And as she said, when we were at Auntie Sarah's course in broadcasting, I had to run away from admission to come and write that paper. And I remember I was so sick, but I said, if I don't write this paper, that means I have to defer. It's going to cost me more time. Yeah. So I put my head on the table, and then I could see that she was sad for me. She was like, Emma, just come and write next year. I said, no, I just want to pass. I just want a pass mark. I just want to pass. And that is how. And then when it got to the research work, that's what Prof. Gajapo helping me to do. Whenever she saw that this girl was good enough, she would stay up with me for how many hours, go through my work, and that's how she supported me to be able to pass. And guess what? Even doing my analysis, because I interviewed 200 rice farmers in the Volta region. I had to sit on motor, go to villages. I had to get extension officers. And I like adventure just like her. So I would sit all the way to Togo border on motorbike with all this condition. But I hadn't been diagnosed, but I knew something was. But then in those times, I exert myself, because my weakness also is that I like things to be as excellent as possible. Yeah. And so then, that challenge comes in. And I had to write to the graduate school and say that I'm having a challenge, because I kept having flares and just finishing and the deadline. So I was writing to them explaining that I'm suffering from some health, something I'm not really, and that eventually, now I had written all right, but I was still scared. What if they don't accept it?
So you're still doing the work.
So I still pushed myself. And by God's grace, I was able to graduate with Wow. So we need it's not just And guess what? In health communication, we realize that majority of communication about health doesn't happen in doctor's office. How much time does a doctor have to spend with you in their office? In the grocery shop, on the bus, on the media, in newspaper. So we need to create that public awareness and education for everybody to understand and empathize and realize that we can change our culture. Culture is dynamic, it's not static. We need to change our approach to communicating about health and helping people to build a community, because it's also said that when you help others feel better about their condition, you get a sense of gratification and you feel better yourself.
What does Oyemam Foundation, Oyemam Autoimmune Foundation, what do you want to achieve within the next year?
Within the next year, we want to see more referrals to the rheumatology unit, so that people can get a diagnosis.
Is that the only
otherwise
place that we can get?
Well, rheumatologists are the specialists that diagnose.
And I should add that they diagnose a lot of these conditions. So lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, systemic sclerosis, psoriasis.
They diagnose.
You said you want more referrals. Where are they?
So what happens is, when a patient goes to the hospital, the specialist is not the first person they're going to deal with.
No.
So it's easy for you to be misdiagnosed and be treated for so many. But we want medical professionals, those in the field, to know lupus, to become aware, to have it on top of their mind that, this is a common thing in this. So we need to refer. We want to have our policymakers appreciate autoimmune conditions in Ghana just like they appreciate others like TB, breast cancer, mental health recently, because these are all interlinked. The incidence is high. We want patients to be empowered. Now, with the recent conference that we participated in, they said the voices of people living with lupus matters now more than ever. And to every patient out there, what matters is you and your story, because you are a living example. You are not some theory. And we always say that theory without practice, is play. And then practice also without theory is dangerous. So it has to be collective. Everybody must be on board. From our political, guess what? Sometimes even driving on the road gives you a flare, because by the time the car falls into potholes and you get to where you are going, you have developed another sickness already.
But you drive.
There are times that I have to lie down with pillows in the back seat for someone to drive me. There are times I can't sit. I have to lie flat for days.
I also drive. I should give you another example. So I left home one day. I knew where I was going, obviously. So I'm driving. I get somewhere. I'm like, where am I going? I didn't know where I was going.
It happens to me.
I didn't know where I was going.
You go and then you be like, what did I come to take from the room? What did I come to take from the room? What am I doing? Sometimes people think you are slow. You're thinking slow. And I'm like, no,
I had to park. I had to park and search for get my phone and search for the dates. And I'll go like, okay, what do I do on Thursdays at this time? What am I supposed to do? Then I remembered, I have to go to school. Or I have to go to work.
Yeah.
I just totally forgot.
People actually forget the names of their family members. And it happens. So you are keeping a journal. Guess what? I lost my phone for past 2 years. I had actually said that today, after this interview, I'm going to go and get a new SIM replacement. And thankfully, I found it 2 days ago. So it happens. And sometimes they'll just go like, we're afraid and these things hurt, because you know that something is happening, but they just don't understand. So if you are in any kind of relationship, some people feel like, okay, you're my family member, or you're my wife, or you're my fiance, and I've seen you with this. You get sick, you get well, so it's normal. There's nothing like normal. No. There's nothing like normal in this. It is lonely. It is lonely and sometimes very heartbreaking. But like Oyemam says, there's hope to live on. We need to get as young as people in primary schools to be able to connect dots, so that they don't live with this for so long.
If people want to help out, how do they reach Oyemam Foundation?
So please visit our website, www.oyemam.org. Oyemam is Oyemam. And then our contact information is there, but also 0546 196 276 is our line that you can call, or info@oyemam.org or oyemamfoundation@gmail. We welcome all to get on board, corporate organizations, churches, schools, because we've been there all. We've been to churches, schools, every makaranta, all the places possible to raise awareness. We are all in this together.
Anyway, it's time to wrap up. As always, it's a Tuesday, so health and wellness is my thing. Ifwa Denta knew her from the School of Communication Studies. She said she was a shark. Now she's no more.
Now it's your A.
And
Forget shark.
And then my kid sister as well, William Milner Ema Paka Halm. Now Danso has added to it. Yeah. These are two ladies who are living with autoimmune diseases. It has to be spoken about, and we've done that.